There are two great things to be afraid of in life. One is bears, and the second is going through life without self-defense liability insurance from USCCA. Which one of these is scarier? The first one, barely.
Oh, come on.
Guys, this video is sponsored by USCCA. I've been a card-carrying member of USCCA for a couple years. You get the liability insurance, but you also get online training tools, and so all of that comes risk-free to you. If you don't like it, you cancel it anytime. Guys, in the days of non-accountability where people sue each other into financial oblivion, I want an organization like USCCA to have my back. Check them out now, uscca.com/warpoet. Okay, guys, on to the video. What's happening, all you warrior poets out there? Today, I'm rocking an MP5 clone. This is the Zenith Firearms ZF5. This thing is 5.5 pounds of pure nostalgia. The moment I started shooting it, I wanted to enter into a Die Hard movie.
It's very kind of you.
Hunt Hans Gruber down through broken glass and barefoot with a dirty wife beater.
Always kind of partial to Roy Rogers, actually.
But before we jump into all the specs and features of the gun, we gotta get out of the range and run it. Now, I'm excited to talk about what I liked about the gun and what I didn't like about the gun. So,
Yippee-ki-yay.
here's some specs and features instead of the end of that tagline. The ZF5 is an MP5 clone by Zenith Firearms. It's gas operated and it is chambered in 9mm. It comes with a 6 to 8 pound precision trigger pack, so it's not stamped sheet metal. The gun weighs in at 5.5 pounds, has an 8.9 inch cold hammer forged barrel, an ambidextrous safety lever by Magpul. As you'll notice, mine has an SB Tactical HK PDW brace on it. That doesn't come with the gun. You have to add it separate, and it sucks because it costs like 300 something bucks. All right, guys, so we're jumping into some pros and cons. One pro is it's got a roller delayed blowback. What that means is the gun is going to shoot flatter and it's going to recoil softer than other guns in its class. I absolutely believe that, as I'm just shredding with this gun, shooting very, very quickly at close, intermediate, and a little farther distances. I'm seeing rounds keyhole. I'm stacking them very close, even though I'm shooting very quick. So I am impressed with that for the gun. Yay for roller delayed blowback. Now, if you bought the Essentials package, that's a $1,600 gun, no Picatinny rail. You don't have the SB brace, and it only comes with one magazine. And who wants that? You want to put a red dot on it. You want to add the brace, but that's like 300 something bucks, and then an upcharge there, and then the other, having the other mag, the 3-lug flash hider, and this, you're going to be $2,500 to $3,000 to replicate this setup, and that hurts. This is a lot of fun, and I really like the gun, but do I like the gun $3,000 much? You're going to have to answer that question on your own. But I really think it is fun. I really do like the gun.
Thanks for the advice.
Back to the pros, the selector switch, safety selector switch for the old MP5 was awful. This is an improvement, however, I'm still not in love with it. I know I'm supposed to be saying a positive and this is kind of a negative, but to be able to go from a ready up, I can't reach this, which left me to put my hand over here to be able to actuate my safety this way while I was coming with a ready up. And once I got more into a course of fire where I was really shooting more, I could, after doing this, slip my hand over when I had an opportunity to do such. But I will give it a positive because it's ambidextrous. It is much better than the old MP5. So good job, but I'd say keep going. So con is it costs a lot, but a pro is this is really well made. Nothing feels cheap. It feels rugged. It feels like I could use it as a sledgehammer and then shoot it as a gun. Of like this is not a cheapo gun. This this is a good gun, and so the durability, and it ran like a champ. I had 0 stoppages. But let's go into a different con because I did have a few failures to feed. When I'd load my magazine all the way up to capacity, insert it in, and I would run my charging handle, it wouldn't always feed forward. And instead, I would allow this even with my nice judo chop, so I wasn't slowing down the bolt carrier group. It would get hung up because the tension of the other rounds over it. And so once I stripped just one round off and then put it in, it ran just fine after that. Now, that could have been just new magazines, new gun, needed a little bit of breaking in, and I'm okay with a general break-in time, especially when tolerances are tighter. That's just fine. It is also possible that it was maybe user-induced. When you put this Picatinny rail on top, you're supposed to torsion it down with a certain amount of pounds per pressure. I think it's 20 pounds. However, we weren't able to get our special measurement tool in there, and so we overcranked, and then the bolt wasn't working, and then we kind of did it by feel, and then it was moving smoothly. And so maybe if I just did a little bit of a hair looser, that problem wouldn't exist. Either way, I don't know. Maybe it's my fault. Maybe it's just the gun is new, or maybe there was a little bit of a problem. But if I downgraded just one round less in the full capacity mag, I wasn't having the problem anymore. All right, back to the pros. This cycled tremendously well. Oftentimes with PCCs, I'll find failure to extract or a double feed. However, the ZF5 has some internal chamber design. It's like fluted, so gas pressures kind of crimp the brass after the round is shot. This allows it to just shrink just slightly so it's easier to eject, and it overall gives it a greater reliability. It was neat to be able to pick up a piece of brass and even see that chambered fluting pattern on it. All right, there's a couple other negatives I wanted to hit, but it's not this gun in general, it's just guns of this kind in particular. So the charging handle over here is on the left side, so if you were to aggressively kind of C-clamp and brace against something, if you pushed against this, it could push your bolt out of battery, and I just don't think that's a good design. IWI Tavora, my X95, has the exact same thing, and I found myself when I'd brace, and I wasn't thinking about it, I was just running a course of fire, I just wasn't paying much attention to the fact that I had an external reciprocating charging handle. It took my gun out of battery and induced a stoppage, and I didn't like that. This gun is so tight in, I'm not as tempted to do one of those C-clamp braces, but man, if I just kind of fell into my normal battle rhythm and I wanted to brace on something, whether it's holding a hallway or working a piece of cover, I could very easily fall into my normal MO and cause a stoppage when I'm just doing my normal bracing. Reloads are tough because it has to be such an exact, perfect insertion right there. There was no flaring or anything like that, and you saw it didn't seat all the way until my second try there. If it didn't seat well because you were more ginger trying to get that exact fitment, which is kind of difficult, you may be tempted to slap the bottom. And I have a bloody hand because it has sharp edges, and that was no fun, and it's not a humongous deal. It just means if you're really rocking and rolling with this gun, you should probably wear gloves or don't have moisturized dainty girl hands, apparently. Another pro, I like the trigger. It wasn't this delicate little competition kind of thing, but the general distances and the weights on it felt just right to me. If I'm running and gunning and I'm getting my hits and I'm not noticing anything about the trigger, that's usually a good sign. If the trigger is gaining my attention, that's a bad thing, and I really just didn't think anything about it. It was around 6 to 8 pounds, felt really good, felt really smooth. I was really sure where the break was going to be, and the reset was just fast enough for me. Some people, especially in the competition world, really dork out on triggers, and if you're in that camp, then maybe go listen to someone else. But for my part, I was generally pleased. All right, so kind of a positive negative here. Positive is I was able to easily mount one of our slings to the front with this clip. This came with more of the upgraded package. And also back here on the rear, that had a easy place to do one of these QD swivels. You guys will ask, this is a Warrior Poet sling, but this is different in that it still retains the bungee, but it has that nice adjustment tab that some people just really want. So if you want that, check it out, Warrior Poet website. We have upgraded cool slings and optics and gloves and body armor and all those things. There's the plug. Support the channel. Love you guys. Final negative on is I really think at this point, I know you're doing the MP5 clone thing, and perhaps they didn't install things like a welded Picatinny rail and just go ahead and throw some type of brace on there. But I get they're trying to keep the cost down and they're trying to clone the MP5. And so if that's the excuse, it's kind of like, all right, I won't con it too much. So maybe a con, maybe not a con, but put a Picatinny rail on the top of everything. We're in the future. The future is now. We do red dots for everything. Iron sights. Who's doing iron sights now? Probably Hans Gruber.
You have me at a loss.
And look what happened to him. You want to get Grubered? I don't think so. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. This was the Zenith ZF5. I really like it. I'm going to keep it, and I'm going to bring it out from time to time to shoot because it was super fun, and I felt like I could go Mach 3 with my hair on fire. Guys, make sure you look down below this video in the description. All kinds of helpful links for you guys that help you, that help us. We appreciate you. Train hard, train smart, and stay free.